So it's been a while since I've done a Hoophouse update, so I thought it'd be a good day. It's nice and sunny. You can see our 3-foot snowstorm has now settled quite a bit, and we can actually finally see the 30-inch tall birdie's beds. The small ones are still completely buried. I've got some stuff going on out here that's about to change this week, so I thought it'd be a good time to show you guys. We're up here in north central Mass, zone 5B, and our average growing season is about 155 days, although I think it's creeping up a little bit more the last couple years. And our average last frost is roughly 8 weeks away in early mid-May. So, as I wanted to show you guys, I just moved this pot of peas out to a stump here. So I started these in the hoop house. So going in here, the soil temperature, I should actually get a thermometer back out here again. We have this old one and I think it's a little bit off. The sun's right behind it, of course. It says it's roughly about 6.5 feet up, 7 feet from the ground here, and it says it's about 80 degrees and 30% humidity, which means it's too dry for a hoop house. So I've got some stuff going on here that I thought I would show you guys what I'm doing and how I'm doing it, because we can't obviously get to a compost pile right now. We had staged some of the Coast of Maine Platinum Growers Mix in here in the late fall, and so I'm able to open those up and just add those as a top dressing just to get some good nutrients in here. And I will add some fertilizer once the plants are actually going. The onions that we left in here to overwinter, so we could have some early green onions, are starting to come back to life, and you can see this soil is way too dry. And that's the problem I've been having over the winter, is if we don't come in here and add water, the top 3 or 4 inches of the soil gets really, really dry. So what I did is I actually shoveled off the top couple inches and put them into grow bags, which might sound kind of funny, but there are things like poppies, for example, that really love like really high sandy drainable soil. And so that'll be put in there, and then probably a few other things, but there are a couple things that actually don't mind. So still need to figure out how to do that better for next year. So onions are doing well. I did have a couple snapdragons that I pulled out from there that we had put in. You can see here, I need to water these because I just moved them, but they are starting to grow. So I put 3 of the roots from last season into this one pot. Grow bag, those are 7-gallon grow bags, if anyone's curious. Those seem to be my favorite size. 10 is too heavy for me to move around easily. These are still heavy, but movable. I planted beets here and spinach here. And so I have a bunch of lettuce that I need to come out and transplant on Wednesday. But because it's going to be really sunny for the next couple days, I don't want to transplant even out here into the hoop house without hardening them off a little bit. Granted, I don't have the same wind in here as you'd have to harden off for the wind outside. The sun, even through the 6 mil plastic, is definitely pretty strong. So I do have the Ag 15 cloth that I will put over to help with that transition. But my goal will be to actually have some lettuce heads started in here pretty quickly. I also have some of the sweet peas that I'm going to use the tomato cables for to get those started. So maybe I have some early flowers, but those won't take much space because they'll go up vertically. Up front here, I was experimenting how early I could actually start my carrots, and you can see I have I did 3 rows, and the seeds got moved around a little bit. Not great germination, but enough that we should have some early spring carrots, which is really great. Over here, I just put some more topsoil on there to cover over some of the peas. The peas did over here have started coming up, and I just buried them because they had pushed up out of the ground. And then back here, I can't remember what I planted. That's a good question at this point. But there's some form of seed started back there. So I really should label these. I forgot to bring the labels out. The green stalk is pretty much mostly dead. There's a couple onions that are made it. I don't know if these strawberries will come back or not because of how dry it was in here. I also did start some peas, but I need a better water source. And you can see these have just kind of pushed right up to the top of the soil. So I don't think they're gonna come of anything. I figured it was not a big issue just to try it. But we'll see if the strawberries come back, and I'm gonna try to get some water out here today and water everything in good. I don't have anything in the back here yet. And then here are my ranunculus. So these are the ones that I tried to transplant early, really early. And they are okay. A couple of them definitely got some cold spots. You can see here. Our outdoor temperature got down to 20 degrees. These guys don't like to be under, I think it's 25 or 26 degrees. So that was definitely a risk. It's the first time growing these, but I thought it would be worth trying because you have to grow these so early. The rest of the tray over here, I'm actually going to put these in grow bags and pots so that they can be potentially outside. I don't know. I've seen them do well in pots, but I don't know how tall they get for cut flowers. So more to come on that. These will get a shade cloth pretty quickly because of the heat in the hoop house. Even with the door open, it's still really warm. These guys need some water. These are some poppies and some feverfew here. And then these are, I believe, bunching onions that I have now, I think this is in their third year in here, that seem to do well most years. And then a couple of the onions that I planted in late last year, in the late fall, are starting to come up. So we'll see if those actually work with overwintering them here in the hoop house. So pretty much no risk of frost in here at this point, just cold temperatures, which is what you're seeing on the ranunculus. But there's no actual frost happening, which is pretty nice. All right, had to go check the sap. This works out really well because we are sugaring right there. So I had to go add some fire and check the level. So up here again, me and labeling doesn't always work out well. I believe these are larkspur, I'm pretty sure. So these took a really long time to come up in here. They require darkness, so I did have them sitting down over here. Had them partially covered for a little while. They seem to be doing really well now. I don't remember what is what up here though. So this is going to be really kind of a fun little surprise. If you guys recognize these seedlings, let me know. Need to go look at my seed packets and see what I actually planted. I planted these probably 5 weeks ago, maybe. The thing about this is you don't need to harden them off out to here because they're already really good with the cold nights and the sun. And so they are going to be stronger by planting them out here. The earlier I can get plants out here, the better, the stronger in general they end up being. So part of what's happening this week, as you can see, I've got like veggie side over here, flower side over here. Part of what's going to happen this week is bringing out a bunch of stuff from the basement. So if you watch the previous video I posted about what we're growing now on 8 weeks out from your last frost, a lot of those items, including things like onions, would actually take off and do really well right now. And I may bring out the onions Tuesday or maybe Wednesday morning because they'll be able to take some of the sun a little bit better because they love light. And they don't have the same leaf structure, right? So those need to get a haircut and they need to come out very quickly. Onions actually get planted outside in the ground, ideally 4 to 6 weeks before your last frost. That's coming right up. So to get them really healthy and happy out here with some of the temperature swings and the natural sun is going to be really important. I also have a bunch of other flowers that need to come out, and parsley can come out at this point. A lot of those things that are light frost tolerant can come out into the hoop house. Even though we have a ridiculous amount of snow out in the yard, this is almost like growing in as if I was in New Jersey, or that's I think maybe like we're zone 5B. It's probably like a 7A or a solid 7 zone in this hoop house. And what I mean by that is, even though the temp does drop a lot in here, it doesn't have the same frost issues, and it heats up a lot more. Zones are mostly about the cold temperatures, but this ground, I have not seen these beds freeze yet. Even in January, they're not frozen, even though our ground is all frozen around us. Which means that I really keep on saying this, but I really want to try doing a bunch of winter stuff. I did try this year, and I had a rodent come in and eat every one of my lettuces. So I might have to put some actual fencing around some of these beds when I get my lettuce going, because you can imagine food is pretty scarce outside at the moment. So it'll be really important to get that covered, because animals will find it. So so we'll be bringing in a bunch more trays. I need to figure out the setup for this. Originally, we thought this would work really well, having a bench in here and a small raised bed, and it did. But you can see there's some bowing, and so Jace doesn't want me to fill this bed back up, so we've emptied it. And so now we need to take this out and either redesign it, or we've been talking about actually putting one of the Birdie's tall 6-in-1s right in here. And then maybe a shelf unit in here, because this is the north wall. Putting a big shelf here for seed trays would actually be really, really great on both these sides here. More to come on that. Having the wood mill has helped us a lot, because we don't have to worry about the wood costs as much. Projects like this don't become as much of a financial. It's really about time, and of course on a homestead, who has extra time, right? So more to come in here, but I wanted to give the update, and hopefully you guys are getting ready for spring and have less snow than I do. And happy gardening.